Adolf Hitler, From Childhood to Tyranny. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the life of one of history's most controversial and infamous figures, Adolf Hitler, a name synonymous with hatred, destruction, and the horrors of the 20th century. But how did a boy born in a small Austrian town grow up to become the dictator responsible for one of the darkest periods in world history? Let's explore Hitler's life, from his troubled childhood to his rise to power, and the tyranny that followed. The early years of Adolf Hitler. Early childhood. Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889 in Braunau am Inn, a small town in Austria-Hungary, which is now part of Austria. His father, Alois Hitler, was a strict and authoritarian man, while his mother, Klara, was much kinder and more nurturing. Hitler's relationship with his father was difficult, as Alois was known to be abusive, which may have had a profound effect on Adolf's future personality. Adolf's early years were marked by tension and emotional distress. He struggled in school and failed to find a direction in life. His academic performance was mediocre, and he often clashed with teachers and peers. Despite his mother's support, Adolf was not a particularly happy child. However, one aspect of his early life that stood out was his love for art, especially painting. The lost dream. Hitler's attempt to become an artist. The artist's dream. Growing up, Adolf had dreams of becoming a renowned artist. In fact, in his late teens, Hitler applied to the prestigious Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna. He was rejected not once, but twice. This failure deeply affected him, and some historians argue that this moment was one of the key turning points in Hitler's life. The rejection only fueled his anger, disappointment, and sense of inadequacy. These early failures might have instilled in him a sense of resentment, and from this point onward, his life began to spiral into darker territories. He increasingly turned to nationalism and a belief in the superiority of the Aryan race, which would later define his political views and ideology. In 1914, as World War I broke out, Hitler saw an opportunity to prove himself. He enlisted in the German army and served as a messenger on the front lines. Although he was never promoted beyond the rank of corporal, Hitler experienced firsthand the horrors of war, and it had a lasting impact on him. He was wounded twice during the war, once in the leg and once in the face, but survived. It was during this period that his hatred for the Treaty of Versailles began to take root. The end of the war in 1918 left Germany devastated, both economically and psychologically. The Treaty of Versailles, which placed full blame for the war on Germany, fueled resentment among the German people. Hitler was deeply affected by this, and his nationalist and anti-Semitic views began to form more clearly. He believed that Germany had been betrayed by its leaders and needed a strong, authoritarian figure to restore its former glory. After World War I, Hitler joined the German Workers' Party, which would later become the Nazi Party. His oratory skills, charisma, and ability to manipulate the emotions of the people quickly made him a rising star within the party. By 1923, he attempted to overthrow the government in what is known as the Beer Hall Putsch. The coup failed, and Hitler was arrested and sentenced to prison. While in prison, Hitler wrote his manifesto, Mein Kampf, My Struggle, in which he outlined his vision for Germany's future. This book became the foundation of Nazi ideology, promoting ideas of racial purity, anti-Semitism, and German nationalism. After serving just 9 months of his sentence, Hitler was released, and he emerged as a more determined and radical leader. During the late 1920s and early 1930s, Germany faced severe economic difficulties. The Great Depression hit the country hard, and millions of Germans were out of work. Hitler and the Nazi Party capitalized on this instability, promising to restore Germany to its former greatness. They used propaganda, rallies, and Hitler's powerful speeches to galvanize support. By 1933, the Nazi Party had become the largest party in the German Reichstag, and Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany. Within months, he moved to consolidate power, passing the Reichstag Fire Decree and the Enabling Act, which gave him the ability to rule by decree. This marked the beginning of Hitler's dictatorship. Once in power, Hitler moved quickly to eliminate his political opponents and establish a totalitarian state. The Nazis implemented brutal policies that targeted Jews, Romani people, disabled individuals, and anyone who opposed their regime. The infamous SS and Gestapo were given free rein to suppress dissent, and the concentration camps began to operate. Hitler's aggressive foreign policy led to the invasion of Poland in 1939, which triggered the outbreak of World War II. Over